Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the Dover Saddlery International Helmet Awareness Day discussions on helmet fit. I'm really pleased to let you know we have Jill Waterman here with us from Dover Saddlery. She's our Director of Merchandising. Danielle Santos is here from Charles Owen. And my name is Whitney Keeley. I'm the Corporate Communications Director here at Dover as well. Aside from the great sales that you'll see going on during this event, we all felt it was really important to be able to share as much information we could with you on helmet fit. It really is the most important piece when you buy a helmet, and the helmet is the most important piece of equipment you will probably ever buy in riding. So we're so pleased that Danielle's here from Charles Owen. Charles Owen is world-renowned for quality, fit, and technology. They are definitely the leaders setting that standard, making sure that the equipment is the best it can be for your riding experience. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Danielle. At the end of the talk, we will have a session for questions. What you'll do is go into the Q&A section on your Zoom and type in your question. We'll read those aloud, and then everyone can benefit from the answers. Welcome, Danielle.
Thanks, Whitney. Thanks, Jill. I appreciate you guys having us here. So one of the things that is really key to wearing a helmet and for the helmet safety is fit is paramount. If the helmet doesn't stay on your head, if it is not stable, then the most impressive safety standards won't be able to protect you. So we want to make sure that no matter what you do, whether you go into a store or you buy online or you buy via the catalog, you talk to the salesperson and you make sure that you have that sort of consult and that fitting experience. Obviously, in person is ideal, but during these days, you know, that's not always the way you can do it. But certainly everybody at Dover is able to talk you through it, and I want to be able to show you what sort of experience you should expect. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the 5 steps to helmet fit. You should be able to see it. Mm-hmm. So it's really key to understand that each helmet fits a little bit differently. Charles Owen has an extensive range, and the reason for that is that each helmet style has actually addressed a fit question that's been seen by people, by our sales reps, by the head of our company, and the design team goes to work on making sure that these sorts of head shapes are addressed. That's actually how we were able to find that, you know, children who were born after 1994 had more of a round-shaped head than the long ovals that we'd seen previously. So with the sudden infant death syndrome that started occurring in the 1990s, we started to see children who slept on their back actually had a flatter occipital bone, the bump on the back of your skull, which actually then created a rounder shape. And it also, in looking at the way we had fit helmets in the past, getting the lock on the back of the head was so important. So I'm going to introduce you to our fit model. This is Mo. Hi. And Mo is going to try on some of the helmets for us, and we'll be able to show you how helmets are meant to fit based on this 5 steps. So the most important part is to measure the head in centimeters. Ideally, if the person has long hair, in a low ponytail. So if you can put your hair in a low ponytail. This low ponytail will also allow us to see how the shape of her head is, and then allow us to determine what style works. Okay? So if you look at the camera. So I'm going to put my measuring tape in the area that actually the helmet headband, the internal headband, is going to lie. So that's 1 finger's width above her eyebrows. Yeah. And then as I keep it still, go ahead and turn slightly to your left. It's back on the back of the occipital bone. So I'm measuring a 55.5 centimeters. So that in our conversion chart, if you can see at the bottom, that the conversion chart in a 55 is a 6 3/4. The 56 is a 6 7/8. So I'm gonna first start trying her in an air-8 in a 6 3/4. Actually, I'm going to try the airbrush. And I'm gonna ask her to keep her hair in a low ponytail, even though she is going ahead and putting on her hairnet to keep her hair tidy. So if you walk just straight and just look at me. You put your helmet on from front to back, and this is the 6 3/4. And you can see as I put it on, it looks slightly perched up on her head. It has more than 1 finger's width above her eyebrows. If you turn to the side, you can see that it's well above the top of her ear. I can actually show you that there's a finger's width there. And it just looks like it's not quite going down and getting the lock, which is the number 3 on the 5 steps to fit. So I'm gonna ask Mo, and that's something that you have to be very cognizant of how the helmet feels to you, because sometimes helmets can feel comfortable, which makes them maybe possibly feel or be a little bit big, and sometimes they fit snug, but they don't quite sit right. So I'm gonna ask Mo, how does that helmet feel on your head?
Well, I'm not sure if you can see it right now if I'm up on the big screen or if the 5 steps is, but if you can see it closely, you'll see that my eyebrows there's a big gap between my eyebrows and the brim of the helmet right here. And so that's how I can feel, as Ms. Danielle was saying, that it is perched and it's not totally, the top of my head is not deep into the base of the helmet.
So it's not coming down.
It's not coming down. I feel like I should be able to push it farther down, and when I do that, it pops back up.
So ideally it's not secure feeling.
Not secure feeling,
Okay.
exactly.
So I'm gonna try Mo in the next size up. And for this one, I'm gonna try the air-8. And the air-8 and the airbrush are an extremely similar fit. Ideally, they are the same, but because helmets at Charles Owen are made by people, they're not machine mass produced, sometimes you see a little variation. So I'm going to try this one, which is a 6 7/8. And it went on quite nicely, and I even felt this little bit of a almost a vacuum sound as it went all over the back of her head and getting the lock. And I'm gonna just take a look and see if she has any gaps. This particular helmet has what we call a drape headband. So it doesn't have, it's very similar to a headband that we would call fixed, which is not removable. But this drape headband is fixed, and it actually, it's very secure and very snug.
It feels good.
And to me, it looks slightly deep, but how do you feel?
I think it feels way more comfortable than the last helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the way it cuffs around, and just as Danielle said, when she put it on, I felt a suction feeling where my head went up into the helmet.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the harness so that we can be sure I can show you how the harness needs to look. So I'm gonna go ahead, and at the moment, the harness is meant to have 1 finger's width underneath the chin, and you can see it's got a lot more than that. So I'm going to adjust it to be tighter. And the harness, a lot of people feel a little, while we want the harness to be as snug as possible, we don't want the we don't want it so snug that it's uncomfortable. How does that feel?
Feels perfect. It's about one finger right under my chin.
Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this down. Perfect.
There you go.
So if you can see, the harness is nice and snug. And I'm going to go ahead, and this is something that people tend to forget. Go ahead and look down. I'm going to snug up her laces at the back. Okay, you can look up. How's that feel?
Perfect. That feels great.
Okay. As you can see, we've snugged up the Gripix harness, and she does not have any gaps here in the back. She's got a little bit of a gap here at the hair channel. Go ahead and turn towards the. And the helmet isn't moving. And a good way to test the helmet, whether it can move or not, is to try and tip it. And as I push it, I'm actually moving her head instead of moving just the helmet. So
The helmet didn't move at all.
perfect. Now, in an ideal world, this particular helmet, to me, looks a little deep for Mo. So I'm going to try on a different style. And I may go back to that one. So I'm going to try Mo in the JR8. Same, similar size. And so the JR8 is a little less deep than the Air 8. And I feel like this has actually, it's kept it a little higher up. And the harness will need to be adjusted. And turn to me. How does it feel?
It feels less deep than the other helmet. Maybe not quite as tight around the back, but that might be because she needs to snug up the laces here. So we'll see what happens after Danielle tightens up the harness, which is very important feature. I think as a rider, we tend to ride with our harness a little too loose.
Okay. So that's got the one finger's width. How does it feel?
That feels great.
Okay, go ahead and turn around.
Very comfortable.
And again, something that people forget to do is to tighten up this back part of the harness. Okay, so you can see that the crossover design of the JR8 harness, and if you could turn around so that they can see the back. If you can see, it crosses over, and what it's doing is it's cupping the back of her head so that she has a more secure feel in the helmet. Our heads have two nerves at the back of our head, which actually will make you feel more secure that your helmet's going to stay on. And the harnesses are meant to activate those nerves. So go ahead and turn around. How does that feel?
This feels really nice. I like this one more than the last one.
Fits better?
Yes, it does. It fits better.
So the more shallow fit did suit her a little bit better. And as I said before, the JR8 and the GR8 have a more shallow fit than the Air 8. But we're going to try, because a lot of people really do like to put their hair up in their helmet. They're competing and they want to make sure that they're tidy. And it's also been said that historically, having your hair inside of your helmet is a safety feature. We don't necessarily do it for looks. We actually do it because our hair, when we do fall, could get caught up in something, or worst case scenario, stepped on by the horse. So we want to make sure that we're being safe. And so when we wear our hair in our helmet, sometimes people want to make sure that it doesn't affect the size of their helmet, which I will show you how to put your hair in with so that it doesn't, so that you don't have to go up extra sizes. But really, in terms of history, the reason we tidy our hair, put it inside our helmet or a low bun, is for safety. So let's go ahead and do your hair up.
And I think an important feature in Charles Owen is that what Danielle was saying earlier, there's a hair channel designed at the back of the helmet.
So as you can see, Mo just put her hair up, just laid it flat, and go ahead and hold it at the top. And you can see that her hair just lays flat against the back of her head, which is the key. Somebody with a lot of hair, I have quite a lot of hair, I'm able to do this as well by fanning my ponytail across the back of my head so that it actually doesn't get caught up into as a bump, as a lump. A lot of people twist their hair. Do you want us to show them how people twist their hair? So some people do this, which actually then creates a pressure point on your hair. You can see how much more space that would take up in a helmet, but unless you really need to fill the helmet, I wouldn't suggest doing this. So again, fanning the back of it, and then go ahead and look back at me. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. And Mo's hair is longer, then it actually comes a little more forward. So there's a way that you can adjust that. But as you can see, putting her hair up actually snugged up a little bit of the back. And we can snug this. Can you go ahead and attach your harness? So here we have, she's put her hair up. There's the hair channel in the back has taken her ponytail. Her ponytail holder has gone into the crossover of the harness. And she's got a nice streamlined look with her hair up in the helmet. And that's the JR8. Quite a nice, tidy look. How does it feel?
It feels great.
Perfect.
Very secure.
So we're going to then try and put her hair up in the Air8 because we found that the Air8 was a little bit deep. And I'm going to show you what it looks like differently between her hair down and her hair up. You can leave it down so that I can show them how it. So again, with her hair down, it's kind of pushing down on her eyebrows. Doesn't quite look like it's sitting exactly where it should be. Maybe looks a little bit big. Okay, go ahead and put your hair up. You want to, yeah. I get it.
That's tight now.
Okay, so again, this has lifted the helmet up a little bit. You can see that it's lifted it up to about half of a finger's width. I would be fine as a helmet fitter for the depth of this helmet. How does it feel?
Feels more secure with my hair up in it. Not quite as deep, so I do feel like I have more vision from the brim of the helmet straight forward.
And that's a key factor. The reason we don't want the helmet to come too far down on the eyes is actually for your vision. And I have been told by some of our sponsored riders in the past that the most frustrating piece of training is when somebody is on a course and they see or doing their dressage and they actually see their student pushing their helmet up. And that's a very distracting thing because they can't actually focus on their ride when they're trying to make sure that they can see where they're going. So that's why we want to make sure that it does have that finger's width above the eyebrow as the idea of where it should be sitting. So I'm going to go ahead and do this harness back up. There you go. How does it feel?
Great.
And
like it now.
Again, nice and tidy look, very traditional look. Two different styles of helmet, two different shapes of helmet. Both suit Mo's shape of head. And both of them do have the hair channel at the back and the drape headband, okay? So a lot of people have moved towards the additional protection that's in the MyPS or the MIPS helmets. And that is a different shaped helmet, but it's quite traditional looking in its silhouette. So I'm going to go ahead and try this one on though. And again, this is the 6 7/8. So I'm going to try, and you can see that the aerate. Can you pull that away? I'm going to try and get into the light. There we go. You can see that the aerate has a little bit of a flare at the back, which actually accommodates that hair channel. And the MyPS does not have that same sort of flare. So you're actually talking about two different fits, two different types of fit. So again, we've already seen that Mo fits well in the J8 and the aerate, again, front to back, without her hair in. And stand up. How does that feel? Okay, go ahead.
This one, I think.
So this actually, in the same size, fits her quite snugly. There's no gapping. There's less hair channel. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this harness. And that's something that's really important for riders. A lot of times people will buy a helmet and they don't do up the harness in the fit session. Okay, go ahead and turn towards me. I'm gonna snug it up just a little bit.
And I think to Danielle's point, because it's flatter behind and there's less of a hair channel, I think it would almost be too tight with my hair in it.
Yeah. How does that feel? Is that too tight?
It's okay.
Okay. So that's a nice snug harness. And now that the front harness is done, I'm gonna snug up the back. And you always wanna do that. You wanna snug up your back laces after your harness is attached. How's that feel?
That feels great.
And the idea of that is to make it feel more secure, for it to be more stable on the back of the head. How does that feel?
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to check for gaps, make sure that I can't put my fingers in there. There's a little bit of a gap back in the corners, but no significant gap anywhere else. Kind of like a pair of gloves or a leather pair of shoes. And a lot of people now are more aware of how saddles fit. Also like a saddle, if you have any gaps in your helmet, it's going to create a pressure point somewhere else. And the worst situation is once that helmet starts to mold and shape to your head, you may have a helmet that moves and within 3 months of wearing. And that is something that you don't want to have happen, because then you'll just have to go and take it back and possibly have it refitted. So we're going to try and put your hair in. Oops. Okay. So we know that this particular helmet, I've just fit the harness, I've fit the back, and we want to make sure that it's still, because she wears her hair up when she competes. We want to make sure that it still fits with her hair up. Okay. There's a little bit of fly away there.
Okay.
Let's try it again. So we're going to try it again to make sure that her hair doesn't get caught.
I'm doing this again. we go.
There we go.
So I think to what we anticipated, not as much room for my hair in this
Right.
helmet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this has lifted the helmet up quite a lot, very
It's
significantly.
way above.
And go ahead and turn to it. And you can see that even though it's filled in these gaps, her hair is filled in the gaps at the back. I can't fit my finger up inside the helmet the same way I was able to before. Go ahead and turn this way. I'm going to go ahead and you can see that it's a nice snug fit. I can't move it, but it is lifted a hair above her eyebrows more so than normal. Does it feel perched?
It doesn't feel perched, but it doesn't feel as though I'm as comfortable. There's a little bit more pressure point right here.
Okay.
And I think that had to do with tightening up in the back where my hair went.
Okay. And the difference with the MIPS or the MyPS and the Aerate and the J-Aerate is the fact that we can, go ahead and turn slightly to the left. The helmet comes back a little bit further in the corners. So she's going to have that engagement with those nerves. So she's going to feel more secure at the back of the head than she would have if it was the next size down. So, because this is actually a slightly deeper fitting helmet, certainly than the J-Aerate and slightly more so than the Aerate. Okay. And the beauty of the MyPS liner is the fact that it is removable and interchangeable. It is called the cup headband. So unlike the J-Aerate, unlike the Aerate, this particular headband will allow you to take the headband out and buy a different size. So this is a 6 7/8. If she felt like this was too deep, too big, we could switch it out to a 6 3/4. But it essentially, this particular one did suit fairly well. Maybe this isn't the right shape for her head if she wants to wear her hair up. So that's the MyPS. And if anybody has any questions on the differences between the fits, because we did see 3 different types of fit on Mo, and Mo had, and they were all very subtle differences. And in terms of which one felt the most secure, which one would you say?
The second one, I would say.
The second one?
Yeah.
Okay. So the J-Aerate.
The J-Aerate, yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, since she said the J-Aerate, I'm gonna go ahead and try her in the J-Aerate Limited, which actually is the same fit, the same interior design as the J-Aerate and the suede, but it's actually a matte finished paint. So I'm gonna see what that looks like for her.
And to Danielle's point, very subtle differences, but if I had to pick one, it would have been the J-Aerate.
Yeah. This is just a different style. Okay. So it's a similar fit. Go ahead and turn. It's a similar fit to the suede. How does it feel? Does it feel the same?
It feels loose.
Feels loose.
Yeah.
Okay. So so this particular one is actually one size bigger, and it has the same look. It has the same lift. Just fix this. Let's go ahead and try your hair in it. Go ahead. Okay, so this is the J-Aerate Limited in the same outer shell, but in the next size up. And so it doesn't quite It doesn't look different than the regular JR8, but it is definitely a little bit bigger, and therefore she's got some gap at the back. So I can fit my finger in here. And you can see how I can do that. So,
But after putting my hair up, it feels much more comfortable
right,
and
right.
more secure.
And if you can see, I can feel that I can put a lot of, there is a pretty large gap here at the back. Go ahead and turn. But if I try and move it, I'm not really moving it very much. So you have to make sure that the gap is sometimes going to be seen at the very back. And you want to check that to be sure that the helmet's going to be secure and stable no matter what you're doing. So, and it just feels too big.
Well, it's a size bigger, as Danielle said, so of course it feels a little bigger, but I very much like the shape of it.
Yeah.
And I think
Does it feel the same as the other
does.
JR8?
Yes, it does. It feels very similar.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I have another helmet that we can try. So we have the airbrush, and the airbrush is something that is become quite popular with the matte finish. And we have one that has a wider peak, and it's the same fit as the regular airbrush. And this one is the same size at 6 7/8 as the regular Air 8. And my PS, so I'm going to try this on you. And this has the cup headband inside. Okay, how does that feel?
I love it. Yeah, it feels great. It just tucked around the bones in the back of my head, as Danielle was saying earlier, where your nerves run in to your skull right here. And it has extra padding on the harness, so when it went on, it really cuffed in and felt really nice. It makes you feel comfortable, secure, confident. Like, this is a hat that you don't feel like is moving at all.
And then if I want to try and move it down, I move her eyebrows down. Okay? I'm not finding any gap. Okay, let's try your hair inside. So this helmet fits her snugly all around without her hair inside. Because it's the cup headband, which actually is a little snugger than the drape headband. Okay. How does that feel?
Perfect. Absolutely wonderful.
Okay, go ahead and turn. So, oops. I can't feel any gaps whatsoever at the back. I'm going to snug this up.
And I think I would have thought when we put my hair in it, it would have felt too tight, but it doesn't feel different at all. It feels exactly the same, secure, no pressure points. And again, even though the visor is bigger, it's not affecting my vision at all.
And she's already had the harness snug up. So there is a very secure fit. So Mo's head shape is she doesn't have the extreme bump on the back of her head, the occipital bone, but she has now fit quite well in an airbrush, a JR8, a JR8 Limited, and an Air 8, and the My PS. Which one, because we were able to fit you significantly well in every single one without your hair. Which one would you want in terms of shape?
This one.
The fit?
Yes.
This is the better fitting one for you.
This one, I feel there's absolutely a perfect fit all the way around. I really feel the glove feeling where you put it on and every part of your head is very comfortably in the helmet.
Like a firm handshake.
Firm handshake, absolutely. Yes.
So that's kind of the key. You want to walk out with your helmet every single day, but certainly from the get-go of when you purchase it. You want it to feel like a very firm handshake, because in the end, your helmet is going to mold and shape to the fit of your head, to the shape of your head, and it's going to relax a little bit in its expanded polystyrene. The one bonus to that relaxed fit is that we can address any sort of changes that might occur with this removable liner. So that's one thing that we can always ensure, is that the helmets are a very good fit, and the specialists at Dover can certainly make sure, especially if you go into the store, to get you fitted properly. So any questions, I'd love to be able to answer them.
Thank you. That was just a wonderful demonstration, really. I have a question, and I'll just kick it off. Can you talk about that cuff liner a little bit? It seems like that's a really beneficial piece for the helmet. Just when Mo was trying on the different ones, it seemed like when that helmet had that in it, she was really feeling secure.
Right, and the cup headband is actually, some people call it a Euro headband. And what it is, and let me I'll take it out of this guy. Actually, it's more visual, more easier to see in the MyPS. So what it is it's actually attached with Velcro on the inside. And so what it does is it actually puts the fitting inside the liner. So I'm going to take this all the way out and show you. So if you can see, this is quite thick here, and this is sized to be a 6 7/8. And so a 7 would have less thick filling inside. And inside is actually our dense foam sizing tape. So it's not going to break down. The front, where we don't normally put sizing tape, is actually just comfort foam. So that's not going to break down either, but one thing that you don't want to have happen is this sizing tape breaking down. So if she wanted to wear her hair up for competition and down for riding every day for lessons, she could do that by having a size 7 cup headband and a 6 7/8 to a 7 to wear with her hair up, and a 6 7/8 to wear her hair down, if she so chose to do that. One thing is, obviously I did say earlier that one of the safety features of putting your hair up and making your hair tidy is that if you were to fall, your horse wouldn't step on your ponytail, you wouldn't get your hair caught on a jump. So that's a personal choice, whether you wear your hair up or down. But the cup headband is interchangeable in the shell sizes of the helmet. And Charles Owen actually has about 3 different sizes in a shell. So this particular MyPS is and I'm very, very sorry, this is a 55 to a 57. So it actually allows you to put different liners inside.
Nice, thank you.
No problem. And the drape headband, actually, we have found the drape headband allows your hair to go up if you have a lot of hair. It's slightly more comfortable than the cup headband is with your hair up. But and that's if you have a lot of hair or thick hair. So, because you found that it was comfortable, yes?
Yes, I liked that helmet very much.
Perfect.
Do we have any other questions? I really encourage anyone on this discussion to ask any question. Danielle is so knowledgeable and has actually worked with every one of our stores and our customer service representatives. So we've had the benefit of really learning from the experts, which we're able to really spread through our company and help our customers get a really good fit on their helmets when they buy them. which is so important to us. I mean, the fit is the most important part of buying a helmet. So there is no question that can't be asked today. While we have Danielle here, take advantage of it.
And there's a question that I get on a regular basis that might actually kick it off a little bit is a lot of people are wanting to have the MIPS technology in their helmets, and yet they have an Air 8. So they want to know the differences in fit and how they can make sure that they're perfectly fitting Air 8, that they're comfortable in, how it will translate to the MyPS. And you saw that the difference in the fit with Mo is that the back of the MyPS is definitely going to make it feel a little shorter towards the back. So the MyPS will fit people who are already enjoying an Air 8 fit, but it's a slightly different shape on the inside with the shorter back and the depth. So I do encourage people to go and talk to somebody to be fitted properly, but fit is so paramount to make sure that you're safe, that having somebody talk you through it is very important.
Well, thank you so much, really, Mo and Danielle, for being here. And thank you, everyone, for joining this call. Like I said, the International Helmet Awareness event goes on through Tuesday. But, here at Dover, we really do encourage you to go in and visit with our experts in the stores, call our product advisors and our customer service, or go on chat and really ask those questions you need to get the best product for you. So we thank you for riding with Dover, and we will have one other Zoom session tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the MIPS technology, if you're interested. And we'll also be posting all of these articles that Danielle has been showing on the screen, the posters, and we also have other articles about helmet fit and safety in the Dover Library. You can just go to doversaddlery.com and access them at any time and print them out and just have them on hand. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Take care.
Bye-bye.